Okay, if I'm going to mute you, don't be offended. You just did, okay. Okay, so we're up to where? Whoa. Okay, let's get the flow of the Maimon. So the flow of the Maimon is the basic question was the contradiction in Indian that it would appear that Rosh Hashanah, not it would appear, it is so. Rosh Hashanah is the Avodah of Kulchem, the Avodah of a general Kabbalah soil. Etzma Nefesh, Ko Poshut, no is Chalkos. How then, Atem Nitzovim HaYoim, which alludes to the Yom Din Rabbah, Rosh Hashanah, how does he go on then to say, enumerating the various classes, as it were, amongst Eden? To understand this, we have to understand Avodah. What's the Avodah? He quotes from the Zohar that the Pekuda, this commandment, Kadmol Achol Pekudim, that precedes all of them, is to know Hashem Elokim. And then later in the Zohar it says, goes with respect to Yetzias Mitzrayim. And then the Zohar brings a few pages later the pasuk V'yidaita Hayom v'shavos levachik Hashem v'olikim, meaning Havai likim kol achad. So the question is, how can it be kol achad? They are opposites. Bli gvul and gvul, infinite and finite. So to understand this, first we're going to see Havaya and Elikim in Olam HaTikun. That's where we began, right? So the pasuk says, Kishemesh umagin Havaya Elikim, conveying the idea that the Shemesh Havaya is akin to the Shemesh, or the Shemesh devolves actually from Havaya, and the Magin, the narrative, the sheath, is Shem Elikim. What's the point of the Magin? It's not to eclipse the light completely. It's in order that the Makabim should receive the Eir HaShemesh. So the point of Shem Elikim is that Shem Havaya should be revealed, as it were, within creation. So let's pick up the text again from Va'inyan Bazeh. We didn't go too far down, I don't think, right? So Va'inyan Bazeh, which would be a couple lines down from the second paragraph of Vayz Beis. Yes? Everybody has the page here, yeah? Reish Mem Aleph. You have the right Maimer? Adam, you got it? For Ben, you met late last night. Huh? When? Yeah. Michael will turn next year outside, so the after married people stayed. So the Indian is, as we established, that Havaya and Elikim are opposites. What does this mean? And how is it possible that the Oir of Shem Havaya yoid al yedei Shem Elikim? The word's easy to say, but conceptually it's impossible. Havaya is essentially Bligvul. How does Bligvul illuminate through Shem Elikim? It's one or the other. One has to give way to the other when the two encounter, which is in fact what happened in Leila Matoya, which he's going to talk about. The L'chayre kasher Shem Havaya bis Gabros. So if Shem Havaya is an expression, dominates, in other words, expressive, Tzarech is Gilu'ir B'ligvul, B'ligvuli. So the result is an infinite revelation. Kashem Shem Elikim bis Gabros. Tzarech is hell and vehester legamri. Shem Elikim is no B'ligvul. So what does it mean? Complete concealment. any gvul, no matter how lofty, is complete concealment on bligvul. So how can through Shem Elikim, gvul, description, how does description convey beyond description? And the point being, like the Mogen of the Shem of the sun, that through the Shem Elikim, so Havaya can illuminate and reach every place. Like the Mogen through which the light can be received in creation, absorbed by creation. So how is this possible? There's only one answer. So from the fact that this is the case, that Shem Havaya is revealed through Shem Elikim, perforce we must conclude Shabbat Mitis, in truth, Einam, in Yonam Einam Beizafach. They're really not opposites. And now he elaborates. Of course, the point he's saying is the Mitzado Etzems and Atzmos, they're not opposites. And he spells it out for us very beautifully. What did we say earlier, quoted earlier at the end of the previous ayahs? Ruach ha'adam ha'ila l'mayla and ruach ha'behem ha'yiredes l'mata. It's a pasuk in Keheles. The spirit of man, the neshama, ascends by nature, and the spirit of the behemoth descends. They're going in opposite directions. And if they're going in opposite directions, never the twain shall meet. So what does he say now? So the fact that overtly the nature of light is ascent and not containment. Ascent means not to be contained. The physical nature of light is diffusion. However, that's why it behaves externally. That's not its kavanah pnimis. The kavanah pnimis of the oil is dafka hagbola. It should be nimshach lamata. It should illuminate the darkness. Ela kavanosi apnimisi sheyumshach v'yoy lamata. The kavanah of the oil is oil illuminates. That's wonderful. Well, guess what? This tnuah of illumination, you are going to express opposite to your very overt character. And I'm speaking in terms of as if there is something separate from the Eibishter. It's just for purposes of clarity. We're talking about God. So let's think what this means. Again, we're talking to a McGill student who's not buying into lights and vessels. We're talking about God. So the Eibishter is revealing himself, as we said the previous Maimer, because the kavan is dir betachtoinim. So factored into that chosen atmitic kavana is Elyon and Tachten. And Elyon precedes Tachten in the order of things. Not only does it precede Tachten, but the true Elyon, which is Bligvul, is totally beyond the Tachten. And that's what the Oyer overtly carries. It's meant, this revelation of Hashem is meant to, by divine design, express the infinitude of God and nothing else. Now, that's all we knew. Okay, so God expresses infinitude. That's the end of the story. But it doesn't stop there. There's the whole Tzimtzum, there's a whole Hagbal, and there's a Direh B'Tachtonim. So what emerges is that no, infinite and finite, they're both equal chosen expressions of Him. Gvul also. And what is this kavana? The fusion of the two, which is expressive of his very essence. Namely, that the bligvul, be revealed in gvul. And conceptually, it's impossible. You can't get infinite into finite. Either the finite's imploded or the infinite's eclipsed. Goodbye. But there is the fusion, because the kavana pnimius of the of bligvul carries within it the koyach atzmi, which means koyach hakvul, and therefore it is possible. Now, what does this mean? So what's the net result? The net result, bligvul in gvul. Well, What does this mean? Well, one of the most tangible expressions of that is the eternity of the Jewish people. They are physical people, souls and bodies, subject to who knows what, I mean, even we do know what, over our history. By all the laws of nature, we should have long disappeared. We're here. So this is one of the most obvious, dramatic, and divinely intended expressions of the fusion of bli gvul and gvul. And then, of course, and maybe the mind will speak of it. This is what the mind is talking about. So I don't know what's coming. But in Avodah, it means that a person is facing a situation that api teva, api gvul, he just cannot go and give up and don't try. So it's not going to work. As Jews have demonstrated throughout our history, the accountant says, the business says, you close on Shabbos and you close shop. The competition will wipe you out. Just think of a story by Jan Zeder in the early days in Australia. Finished. It's Shabbos, and that's it. And the shop is closed. The factory is closed. And guess what? It's Panosa. And maybe even better than had it been with the Shutuf that insisted, the partner that insisted that the factory run on Shabbos. It's all impossible, but possible. So let's see in the words of the Maimon. I should change. It's impossible. That's who I am. But it's possible. So let's see. Again, so the kavanah, and the kavanah, so the kavanah of the oir is not aliyah, even that's its nature. Like pnimis kavanah is hamshach lamata. V'oifen ha'oir v'agilu layih b'derech ribay oir, and the still part of the kavanah. The kavanah is not okay. So be revealed down here and overwhelm everything. No. Kavan is not the ribay but often she feel bitla mekablim. We learned to this. Not in the way that it implodes and nullifies, dissolves the mekablim kim sheyoyboif and she bis yashvus ben mekablim. The kavan is you remain bligvul, but you are going to be absorbed bis yashvus and the pnimius with the recipients. Now this is olam hatikun. This already starts in Atzilus. So the question is, so the Kavanah Yon has been achieved already. We'll see not. Atzilus needs fixing too, even though it's called Olam Hatikun, the fixed, perfect world. Not so perfect. We'll see. At any rate, so already, this is the difference between Tikkun and Tohu. The Tohu. We did learn this or we didn't? Huh? The Toyo and Yonisha made by from Bligvul. Toyo is with it, yeah. Where the oil is Bligvul, therefore it's all any aspect of Gvul is just shattered. Veda Tikkun in Yonisha Yabis Bekelim. But Tikkun is that's Elamatzilos that the oil should be Bisyashvus. What's a good word for that? Settled, not a good word. Anybody? Bisiyashvus and the Kalim. Integrated. Okay, good. You say someone's bisiyashvus, it means it is settled, calm, settled, integrated. So it gives the dogma. The dogma of Toyo and Tikkun. Derech dogma. King who reveals his glory, the preciousness of the Tiferes, the glory of his greatness. You find him two ways. He reveals his glory in all of its intensity in Yiddish mitashturim, which means with storm, literally. Without reckoning it all, the mats of the situation, the limitations of the recipients, of the receivers. And in the presence of such a mighty and awesome revelation, what happens is, then the makablim are totally in a state of bittul. In the second way, he reveals his glory. However, in such a way, in a way that the recipient should be able to grasp it and understand it and appreciate it. Now, and this is what we said, Rosh Hashanah. Reveal the glory of your sovereignty, and every effect should know that you effected it, brought into being, not effect, but effect, right? That's the difference. The term pu'ula, as opposed to Yavin Koyitzur, that's the next statement. In the tefillah, that l'chora is a higher level. But Paul is, which begs the question, if that's the pshat, I'm just thinking the question, the Seder, if Paul knows, for sure Yitzur knows, should l'chora be Yavim call Yitzur, never Yavim call Paul, if that's the pshat. Okay, so to look into that. I'm sure it's addressed. Yovin kol Paul ki ato pa'alta, Yovin kol Yitzur ki ato Yitzarta. Yoimar kol asher neshama b'yapei Hashem l'kei Yisrael melech malchus b'kel neshola. These words are the heart, the essence of Rosh Hashanah. You know I don't know if it's so true anymore or whatever, but the difference in Lubavitch and the rest of the world, Rosh Hashanah, the big story everywhere else is, where's the whole congregation get emotional, in Sanatoika, who will live, who will die. But in the Chabad, it's here. Galakvei Malchuscha. Reveal your kingship here on earth. I haven't davened for a long time for the Amud, but the nusach that I use from my childhood is Rabbi Grona. And nobody who ever heard him daven could ever forget his davening, especially in these words. Whole davening. So the Paul koil al nevarim atachtoinim v'yeda kol Paul piyato. So Paul goes on the nevarim atachtoinim, the lowest creations. V'yafat became nonetheless, even though he's a low creation, he gam kol Paul yeda kiyato paltoi. Yeda, he means know, not overwhelmed, but we should know you, that you created, not despite us, because of us. And since the kavana pnimis of the is not the nature of Eir itself, which is giloy and ascent and diffusion, spreading endlessly, but rather like the laser beam. L'chora, the laser beam, which is a fairly modern convention, is because approaching Mashiach. So now we appreciate this idea of the Eir coming in Bagbola, and it's more intense even than ordinary light. That's the Kavanah Pnimius, L'chora. This is a new thing, the laser beam. How old is it? Stei Rashvi. And therefore the Eir is limited, measured literally, and limited by the Kelim. So that's the Eir. The Eir, the Kavanah, is opposite to its overt nature. The same is true of the Kelim. So Kelim, Hashem Elikim, mitzad Atem, it's Gvul, it's Hela, it's Choshech, it's Tzimtzum. It's going the opposite direction. However, that's only mitzad the chitzonius. It's overt identity, which Hashem desires to create. Elyon, tachten, and opposites, a binary system. The kavon in kelim in gvul is einyan hayirida v'helen v'hester lagamri. The kavon is not eclipsing elikus completely, not knowing God. He wants us to know Him. And we see this. Sharishem gam shem elikim. Elikim means the tzimtzum of the helem. It is umizayin shemes akdoshim shenim chokim. It's one of the 7 holy names of Hashem, when written, may not be erased. So it's kedusha, it's a likus, it's godliness. Elo. So we see a kavon apnei mishabem. What's the kavon of the kelim on all of the levels, which is all part of Hashem elikim. Elikim being grammatically plural. Shal yodam is gal. The point is that through the keli, the earth is revealed, the Eibush is revealed. Therefore, the kelim grasp the light and reveal it, not eclipse it, reveal it. So everything ultimately, earth and keli, there's the overt dimension. The kavana pnimis is the opposite. It's each one reveal the other, or serve the other. So this is v'zer shavai v'likim kol achad, and this is what the Zohar says, that this is the very first tzivui. The one needs to know. The Zohar says b'chlal b'frat. Levisha b'shneim. So kol achad, how's it possible? Because b'shneim mikavona achas, one eibishter and one intent, and therefore they are one. Where do we see this Neilam? This is similar to the previous Maimer, right? That the Cheles Ava is the factors it into the fabric of Shtalshalos. Every level there's this longing. Similarly here, this was really Chaim's question. Oh, there you are. Chaim, I'm going to ask you a question. It's appropriate right now. We didn't answer it on Friday. So you want to repeat your question?
Remind me. I just remember the mashal from.
If I remember your question correctly,
the mashal. I asked you a question from the mashal in B'Yemesh Te'aser. Here's the opposite.
Yeah. Here's the opposite. So the question could be rephrased in terms of I'm right now. If that's all we learned right now, we have a student, no? Previous Ma'im B'Tcheles Ava, Shar Anon, as you're expressing it, Anonosiv Malka. And here he's saying the Kavon is Elamatikron, is Yashvus and Kalim. So what's the answer? Anybody wants to say something? Suggest something? Is the kavana gewalt, or is the kavana is yashus? Dile b'tachtoinim, oiris and kelim, elamatikun. So, well, we didn't quite say that here. I hear what you're saying. But somebody said here, Elamatikon, they're together, but what's the end is his yashvus. Did you see anything here of Cheles Ava? And a hint of Cheles Ava. Life is beautiful. You know, Atzilus is a beautiful world. Tairahi. It's not Anon Nasiv Malka, there's no Gewalt here, there's no Cheles Ava. Huh? What? Speak up. Okay, speak up, no? But in the king's order of things, he's saying this is the kavana pnimius, which suggests, more than suggests, is stating that our kavana is this yashvus. Is yashvus means, put it this way, it's a pasuk. Hashem didn't create the world, literally the word toyo, chaotic, but the word Lashem is to develop it deliberately, level by level, live a nice life and be a nice boy. Huh? What's the contradiction? I mean, I could be saying what you're saying. I'm sure is correct, but let's appreciate. There's a very strong question here and a contradiction. Very simple language. What is a chassid? I'm a shugene gewalt, chayles ava lavsik, anon nosiv malka. I don't want anything. Not gandei natach, not gandei alien. The Alter Rebbe rolling the Maimer while he's saying the Maimer. Or the kavanah, engage the world, be siyashvos abar seichel, elikus. Let me finish the question. Elikus in everything, appreciating godliness and everything in your place of work, in your business, your food and family. You see this very integrated, mature, settled, intellectual and emotionally integrated siyashvos person was a meshugane, a gewalt, chayles ava, lavsik. Last time it sounded lavsik, and here so far, so no, what all you're saying is all correct. It's not. The answer is you're right, or you're all saying the right thing. The answer is both. The answer is, on the one hand, the kavanas did it and he's fully engaged, but the point of it all is really probing, pulling back the layers. His quest is, and he's crazy. He's crazy. He's chayles ava, because it's all this whole business of oides and the whole kavanah, vul bligvul. It's because that's you. There's no virtue per se, ultimately, to bligvul and gvul, other than it's your choice to manifest that way. And that's the non-nas of Malka. He is engaged in all of this, but here's the big caveat. It's not because of the mila in this, it's a nice world, all of the superlative adjectives, it's life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. Life is beautiful, yeah, because you chose this, because that's what you want. So there's the gewalt in everything. There's no inherent mila in anything, but everything is absolutely valuable for one reason, because that's what you want. So he's not caught up in the beauty per se. There's the constant driven of the kavana pnimius anonas malka. Where's the malka? Here in the mitzvah gashmius matter. But what he's saying is, and what he's cognizant of and what he's driving in all of, rephrase that, Ava and Yira and understanding and the beauty and the joy of Yiddishkeit. It's not that he doesn't have all of this. He does. That's the kavanah. Alter Rebbe wrote, the Alter Rebbe, who's crying, Chvil writes 1,000 Maimorim explaining in Gan Eden, El and Gan Eden Atacht, Blum Yam Tanya, Eden, Chochma. Forget all the things that you made. Not just sit. You. No, the point is, you are expressed in all of these things, and that's their truth. That's their truth. The palace is a palace, and the gold and silver and all of those chambers are all valuable, not because they're inherently valuable, because the melech is there. So there is the gewalt, and the chayles ava constantly in every moment of engagement, that it should be true and expressive of all of this, is because this is what you want. You want me to understand, you want me to feel, you want me to do. So he's not locked in the system itself, not the bli gvul, not the gvul. These are Abish's choices to reveal himself. That's all it is. It's a meidik, it's very hard, a very difficult level, because the levels themselves are so fulfilling, so beautiful, and transcendent and filling. That's why it takes the bittel of the pikeach to say that all of Ishtalshas Atzilus in the earth, what's its value? It's Nosiv Malka, because that's how you chose to reveal yourself. But it has to start in the order of things. B'chlal, as human beings, as created this way, selfishly, the beginning has to be, this is beautiful, and I love this. It makes so much sense, and all the benefits, and it's so fulfilling, and Yiddishkeit's a beautiful life, and I don't want any other. It has to start that way. The appreciation of Ishtalshalos and the beauty and everything. But then to realize that all of this, its beauty, its true beauty is simply that his choice of it. Good is good because it's God's choice. It's godly. That's why it's good. So he's going to go on to say now, if I'm not mistaken, Elam Atzilis is perfect. Elam Atikun. The kavanah has been achieved right there. Gvul and bligvul, it's a perfect. But along comes a yid, and elevates even Elam Atzilis. To what? That Atzilis should appreciate, as it were, that its own milas and milas and milas. Tremendous milas. Gvul and bligvul together. Milas. It's all because Bchiras Atzmos, or the terms that he uses here. Atzilus is in shock, as it were, when the Yid runs around in this world with the Gewalt of Cheles Av, so Cheles Av and Atzilus in the same way that it is here. We learned in the previous mind, but there is the longing for higher, for the higher level. But then you get stuck in the moshel. People they want more. At that point, good, beautiful. The emes and non-os and malchus, dafka neshama lamata. As you said in the previous time, dafka and malchus, where it's the complete helem, where the kavanah of mleich alolam kulik bichveidecha is manifest. That's where the true cheles av is. For the sharanun, the nos and malchus. Let's go a bit further. Yeah, we kind of answered. Again, I think, if you saw a chassid in your life, we wouldn't have this question. On the one hand, you're the most cerebral and measured person, and really a mature means integration of mind and heart. Chabad chassid. At the same time, there's this gewalt. He's crazy. Shtus the kedusha, and is driven, and is beyond all cheshbonis, and non nasiv malka, the kavan el yoinu should be carried out. That's the bottom line, and nothing will stand in his way. He's a gentleman. He's a gentleman on the one hand, and a perfect gentleman. On the other hand, like the Rabbi said, earlier is the Torah became the tikkun. It's not sometimes like this, sometimes like that. That's his mitzias. There's a burning, insatiable fire that's ever present in all of the and everything that's done, measured in the pnimius. Andrus talis, the pnimius. He's burning this, but with the fire. It's not. He's learning. Okay, another maimon mastered, another davening down, chalked up. Nice davening today. Daven ba'avoid a little bit, little farbrengen. Good Shabbos. I'm not saying that shouldn't be, but the chassid is there's a fire in all of this, insatiable fire. till Mashiach comes, till the kavanah is carried out, and then. Next, another few lines. So betoyo. So it's about tikkun now. Tikkun l'chayre is, it would appear, that's the kavanah. Bligvul and gvul integrated nicely, as opposed to toyo. The betoyo nikisha. Hey, everybody has a place. We're up to there. Okay, we should stop here and tell today's story. Okay. So toyo tomorrow.